Hi friends, it's Carly and I'm back finally to do the review of our Abomination Baf figure that we've been working on forever because I had to pre-order the final 3 pieces, but we made it. We looked at all of the figures it took to build him, and now we are finally here looking at the man himself, Emil Blonsky, the Abomination. So, the Abomination, you guys, this figure is so impressive. Before I get into a little of his backstory, I am so thrilled with this figure, which is great because we know there were a few figures in the line that it took to build him that I was not so happy with. But to have this in hand complete, and I've been playing with him, I think this might be my favorite Build-A-Fig so far. I'm going to tell you all the wonderful things I love about him, but as we take a close look, I'll tell you a little bit about Emil himself. So, as is the case with oh so many of our favorite Marvel heroes, Emil was a part of the KGB, and a blast of gamma radiation turned him into the Abomination that you see here. And because of maybe a bit of madness that was caused by the event, he immediately blames Bruce Banner for his transformation because he sees Bruce as his counterpart in the Hulk, in his role as the Hulk. So he really just sets off from that point forward on a life of trying to get Bruce Banner. And the culmination really of his attacks on Bruce, there are all kinds of fights. He can hold his own in a lot of ways, but, you know, Bruce always sort of wins the day. But it culminates with him, Emil is alienated from his wife because of his new form. Nadia no longer wants to be with him, and we can sort of understand why. So Emil decides that if he can't be with his wife, he will take Bruce's wife Betty, who he's just recently married from her. He attacks Betty and makes it appear that the gamma radiation that she is exposed to by being with Bruce as the Hulk has caused her illness, although what really happened was that Emil poisoned her with his blood. Bruce discovers what actually happened, Betty is saved, and Bruce ends up forgiving him. And through that encounter, Emil realizes that, in fact, he is the Abomination. There's the big reveal, that he's let this transformation madden him and that he is really the bad guy. Ultimately, he is, Bruce forgives him, but he goes on, and ultimately he is killed by the Red Hulk. So that's where we leave our character, the Abomination. This is the second Abomination figure, and when I was looking at my reference artwork, the Abomination has much more of a creature from the Black Lagoon Swamp Thing type look to him. He's much more amphibious than the Abomination we see here with fins on the side of his head. Those are really his primary characteristic. So this is a new imagining of this character. All that aside, I adore this figure. Everything about him is perfect to me, even though it's sort of taking a new look. There are some reference materials that I found that are similar to this, not exactly, but really it is a little bit off character, but I love the reimagining. I think it suits the character really well. I think his Hulk origins in the outfit are really great, and I'm gonna go top to bottom and show you all the things about him that are so wonderful. So we're gonna start with the head, and I'm gonna pop the head off to show you what it looks like. So what we actually have in lieu of a neck, because he's a huge hulking monster, is just a peg that moves 360 degrees, really, all the way around like this. And the head itself, let's look at the head. It has just the little hole in the back here. So what that allows us to do is get a variety of poses in the head that are really sort of monstrous. His head moves in like really freakish ways because he is so set off from the neck. It's so set off from the neck. And because of his huge hulking body, we can get some really great, really emotive poses out of this head. And I don't know. I just really love all the different possibilities that come along with this. So I love the way that the head moves. The possibilities are really endless for making a great scary look with him. The second thing that I love about this figure is the articulation in the shoulders here, which means that his arms and shoulders move all the way back. So when you raise his arms up, you really get sort of a like animalistic sort of pose to him. So they can be all the way back like this. This is like his full wingspan, if you will, or they can be all the way forward like this in a grasping motion. So the movement there is stunning, and it's easy, and it creates some really great looks. He's also got, you know, his arms go all the way out at the shoulders like this. We do have a little bit of limit in motion right here because of the shoulder muscles, but I mean, not much. It's really not bad at all. It just catches a little bit there at the top of the joint, where if this portion right here weren't sticking out, it could maybe go that much farther, but I don't think that that's really that big a deal, especially since we can put them back and still get like a great range of motion all the way through the muscle. So I think that's really neither here nor there. We have turning here in the bicep. We have turning in the elbow. And it isn't a double jointed elbow, but his muscles are so huge that that probably wouldn't work anyway. So here's the bending in the elbow. We have a hand that goes forward, which is such a great monster pose, and back like this. And of course turns all the way around. I love the clawed hands. They're vicious looking, so I think they suit him really, really well. And I talked before about how I would love to have accessories packs with our Baf figures. If they're going to make 7 figures in the series, why not make the 7th an accessories pack? For this guy though, honestly, I don't think he needs anything else. I think that he's perfect the way that he is, and an extra set of hands wouldn't necessarily suit the character any better or add anything to him. So in this case, I think he came with everything that he needs. I just love the additional articulation in the shoulders. I can't get enough of that. He turns here in his upper torso. And let's see, yeah, so his upper torso is where he turns. He's got backward motion and forward, 1 click each, back and forward. So he's got some great movement in the torso for those balancing poses that I like to do. His legs, his hips are great. He can go all the way out to the side, all the way back, all the way forward. His thighs turn with ease right here. And he's got nice double jointed knees that actually were quite a bit better than the elbows. So maybe the elbows are lacking a little bit. Then he turns here in the ankle, and he also has movement all the way back and all the way forward in his foot. So instead of having, I mean, this is the equivalent really of the turning in the boot right here. So we can turn here, down, up. Yeah. And I think, yeah, so he's got great movement in his feet and ankles to get a great pose. I'm holding him up to my chest just to give you an idea of how huge he is. He is gigantic. He's hefty. All of the parts of this build were solid, and everything, as you can see, went together perfectly to form an amazing looking figure. So again, this isn't really the Abomination that we would know from the comic books. I really checked out a lot of references on this guy. And like I said, this isn't what we would normally be seeing for the Abomination. But I think that there's room for creative interpretation. There are, like I said, a couple of instances like this, but this is done so beautifully, every single detail of this figure, that I'm not really mad that it doesn't stick directly to the source material. I think it's clear who he is, and I think the reimagining serves the character. instead of taking away from it. There's no laziness in this to me. I think that this is a fully fleshed out, beautifully painted. I love the way that they really took the time to add nuance in the paint to his skin, to his belly, his underarm area, to add depth to the spikes and his backs, even using different shades of green, darker and lighter, adding depth. Just really beautifully thought out, well thought out work. He's not perfect, as he wouldn't be. So we can see, just the monster that he was transformed into. I couldn't be happier with this figure. I really loved my Crimson Dynamo. I thought he turned out beautifully. I have a Cull Obsidian back there who's really cool. They just, side by side with this, he is so impressive. He's my favorite one that I have right now. So I think that all said and done, as always, I'm really happy with what I got for my money building this figure. I think the value is incredible. I think that if you have an opportunity to just buy the pieces to get this figure, or if you buy the whole set, you're still getting a really great value because there are some really good pieces in this line. And the final result is so impressive. I can't say enough. I'm so happy with this figure, and I hope that everybody else that got it agrees with me. Please share your thoughts. I'm gonna show just the sides and the back of him one more time. Please share your thoughts on this figure. Let me know what you guys think. If you love him, if you are a fan of him in the comic books, let me know if this interpretation of his appearance is good for you. Do you feel like it's all right, or do you feel like they strayed too far from the way he looked in the books? I do think it's quite a departure from the way that he originally looked, but again, I really like the way that it came out. If you're a big fan and you don't, please tell me about that. Tell me what you guys think, and let me know what you thought about this Baf series. It's been a lot of fun. It took a lot of time, and there were some ups and downs, but we made it, and I'm really happy with the final product. So that is that on the Abomination. We have a couple of more figures coming up. I've got some Star Wars figures that I'm really excited to look at. I also have the Age of Apocalypse series coming up. So there are really good things coming up. We're probably going to go back to a 3 or 5 day schedule just for the time being until we get that entire wave and can do the Age of Apocalypse all together. But if you have any requests, if there's anything you'd like me to talk about, I would love to do that. And I will keep you guys up to date on Facebook and my social media. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye, friends.